Hey, what the hell's going on, you guys? It's Stupid Play Negative AE, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. Last we left off, we had just gotten a bunch of connecting pieces to choose from, and we're supposed to kind of read them all in a certain order, I guess. And I want to just take a moment to say a couple things here. So the first thing is I'm in a new room, so if it sounds echoey, let me know. I mean, it sounds echoey as I'm speaking, so if it doesn't sound echoey, I guess is what I'm looking for. Because if it doesn't sound echoey, I don't have to do anything. But if it sounds echoey, I might have to go get some of those sound foam things and see. So let me know. And then also, thank you guys so much for all the comments on the previous video. Just kind of like trying to help me out and explain this, because this is completely new territory, and it's easy to freak out when the whole game has been just reading, and now it's kind of not that. So what I read from Nagels was very helpful. He says that even though it gets cracked, you still can do it at a later point. It's just telling you that you can't do it right then, which is good. So there's really no fail condition as far as I'm aware. And then I tried to find a walkthrough just so I knew which ones to click on, but it's not like instantly available information. Like, I did some searching for a good hour today, or yesterday night actually, trying to figure out if there was a walkthrough that I could just find and click. But no, there is if you want the secret ending, which I saw a bunch of guides to get the secret ending. But I just want to get through the regular game. So I'm just going to click on the ones that say this piece is required first, because we still got 2 more to do. And then we'll kind of run through with the information that we have. When I asked Rika-chan, she said Satoko might possibly have gone back to the hill. She likes going there. The back hill is filled with trees, vines, and fallen trees, and she really likes being there. Any child would dream of having a secret base. To Satoko, the back hill is her secret base. However, it hasn't been scouted before, so it's a dangerous place too. As her brother, I'm a little concerned that she spends her time there. But maybe I should worry about myself getting lost, since I rarely come here. The hill gets dark quickly when evening falls. If I still can't find her, I should look for her somewhere else. Satoko! Satoko! I'm yelling as loud as I can, but in the woods my voice doesn't carry that well. According to Rika-chan, she's been making her secret base in this area, coming here alone and expanding her base. What does she mean, expanding her base? If it's a secret base, I guess she doesn't want anyone to find it. Does that mean she set up some traps? Considering I knew that much, I should have noticed the traps and she set back up on this hill. Wow. Suddenly, my feet sank into the ground and pulled a rope that was hidden under fallen leaves. I hear some noise from up above, and then I see a big ball made of branches fall right next to me. This must be one of Satoko's playful traps. If I wasn't so lucky, I'm sure the ball would have hit my head. Oh my. Look who's here. It's you, Nini. Satoko, don't do this. This is dangerous. Didn't you see the sign by the Forest Service? It clearly states that it's dangerous to come in these woods. My wonderful traps will welcome anyone who ignores the sign. Oh ho ho. I should stop her from doing things like this as a brother, but when I see her bright smile, I can't say anything else. I haven't seen that smile for a while. He's a poet and he doesn't know it. By the way, Satoko, weren't you told to come home by evening because we were going out for dinner tonight? I don't want to go. Why don't Mother and Father go by themselves? If you want to go, you can go, Nini. You still angry at Father? Threw an ashtray at me. I feel like this whole family's weird. That happened with the previous father. Our current father hasn't done that. He locked me out of the veranda. He didn't feed me lunch. He complained I got him the wrong brand of cigarettes, and he slapped my face for saying I shouldn't be a picky eater. And then She isn't talking about our current stepfather. Actually, things about our different stepfathers are all mixed up in her head. Every time our mother remarried, we had to call a different man our father. The word father isn't a word that should be taken lightly. If you don't truly acknowledge a man as your father, how can you call him father? That's how much weight it carries. However, just to make things smooth and peaceful, I used the word father even if I didn't want to. But it was too difficult for young Satoko to do the same. Ever since Satoko was little, she's been having troubles with all the stepfathers. She never opened up to our current stepfather. To Satoko, a father figure is no longer someone she can trust. It is true that our current stepfather doesn't have any experience being a father, so he sometimes becomes rather emotional with Satoko. But since the incident where Satoko called the child abuse hotline, our stepfather regretted his mistakes and tried his best to communicate with her. Even my mother realized how much Satoko suffered emotionally, and it was pointed out by the social worker. She is doing her part to bring Satoko back into the family. But Satoko completely refuses anything. It's understandable though. Her childhood was full of sadness. Satoko can only open up to me. That's why I have to be the one and only family member she can trust. Otherwise, she's all alone in this world. But a brother and a sister can't be considered a family. Even if we don't get along now, if we continue to have small communications, we may be able to become a real family someday. Satoko, our current stepfather is getting nicer. He says he wants to make up with you. It's news to me. It's because every time he tries to say something, you run away. He wants to talk to you. He says he won't make you eat pumpkin anymore. That's a lie. He said I couldn't leave until I ate my pumpkin, and then he tied me to the chair. Again, she isn't talking about our current stepfather. Satoko, just come with me, okay? Mom got a free dinner coupon, and we don't want it to go to waste, do we? We already have the reservation, so we have to go today. Oh, you go, Nini. I like staying home alone. Satoko doesn't usually stay out playing this late. She knows we're going out, and that's why she's out here alone. Although I want to snap at Satoko, I control myself. Because she has only me. I can't scare her. Anyway, let's go home, Satoko. You don't have to decide to go or not right now. You can think about it after we get home. Besides, I can't go home without your help. Nini, brought you here so many times already and you still haven't learned? What am I gonna do with you, Nini? Satoko holds out her hand. She often says she's embarrassed to hold my hand in front of people, but she's holding out her hand now. I take her hand. Satoko's fragile hand. I have to protect her as a brother. Let's go home, Satoko. Sure. Okay. I guess the good thing about these little excerpts is that they're relatively short, so it's easier to judge when I'm going to end the episode. But I don't know if that's going to be consistent with a lot of them. Footsteps following Satoshi are required. Interesting. Okay. Well, so let's go to this one as well. My name is Yojo Satoko, but the name Hojo is my father's last name. I was also Hatake Satoko, Yoshizawa Satoko, and also Matsuda Satoko by my previous fathers. Still not used to being called Hojo-san. If someone calls me Satoko, then I know that person is talking to me. but because the name Satoko is the one that I've been given since I was born. I don't understand why my mother repeatedly marries and divorces. If she's going to get a divorce, why does she get married? If she's married, why does she get a divorce? I asked her before, but depending on the situation, her answers were different. When I asked her when she was married, she got angry. I asked her when she was married. She got angry. When I asked her after she got divorced, she cried. I don't understand the meaning of marriage. So I have no interest in drawing a picture of a bride or a wedding dress. I don't think I'll ever get married. I don't want to keep changing my child's last name, so I don't want to get married. My teacher once asked me if I liked my mother. I think it was when I was in kindergarten in Okinomiya. It was a very difficult question, because sometimes I loved her very much, and sometimes I hated her very much. I couldn't decide. When my mother was nice, she was always smiling. She made us happy. She thanked me for being her daughter. When my mother wasn't nice, she was always irritated. She treated my brother and me very poorly. She told me I should have never been born. My teacher asked me if I liked my father. It was a very easy question, because I hated him very much all the time. I hated him no matter what. The new fathers always treated me nicely at first, as if I was their real daughter. They always told me I could think of them as my real father. But they couldn't be my real father. Besides, I don't even know my real father's face. How could I call them my father? I couldn't. That was disgusting. Right before divorce, my fathers were always irritated. They treated me like a cockroach. They told me they didn't need money to feed me. They threw things at me, and they locked me out of on the veranda. I was told I could forget about them because that was all in the past. I think it was a different teacher from a different school. Maybe that's true. Because since Hojo became my father, my mother has been smiling. I haven't seen them get into a fight as I have seen happen just before a divorce. They have a little fight here and there, but those don't lead up to a divorce, and they always make up. And I'm sure they'll get a divorce sooner or later. Then it'll be the same old stuff with the family court. Divorce settlements, a night flight, child support. Who knows how long this Hojo will be my father. Because that's why I don't even feel like calling him my father. He also treated me so well at first. But when I didn't call him father, even after he asked me repeatedly, he became irritated. Look at a divorce soon. When my father gets into this mode, a divorce is on the way. After a divorce, it's my mother's turn to be irritated. Then she'll tell me she couldn't have, or she shouldn't have had me, or that she can't be happy because of me. Why is my existence causing problems for my mother? I asked my brother and he told me, if you have children, it's not easy to find someone to remarry to. My mother, remarriage is a very important job, so I can understand having children around that will cause problems. I think I finally understand the reason why I am a nuisance to her. I asked my brother something else. Why are children hated by new fathers? It's simple. That's because the family members all have different roles. The mother's job is to love her children. Father's job is to love mother. I don't know if those jobs equal each other. That means I'm a nuisance to both mother and father. My brother is more mature than me, so they don't look down on him as a nuisance. Maybe I am. Oh, I definitely am a nuisance. Now I know. Both my mother and father want me dead. But if they kill me, they'll be caught. But that doesn't mean they won't kill me. If I were to peek down the cliff, if no one was around, my mother and father would push me off the cliff for sure. My father has become abnormally nice to me recently. Since I made the fake call, he started to act that way. I know for sure it's just a part of a plot to kill me. So I won't let them trick me. I'm sorry. Lately, I try to listen carefully. I can hear a voice apologizing. I'm sure this voice is the same as me. Her mother is telling her she shouldn't have been born. But I won't apologize like that. I'll live. I'm going to strike back. I'll kill before I get killed. We got the repeated apologies, man. I don't know. We got the repeated apologies. I'm actually interested to see what that is. I apologize for my stretching. I'm a little bit curious because it happens a lot when you go crazy, right? So when Rena was like, I'm trying to think back to like the first one, because the first one was so like engraved in my memory. Like the one I remember the most is the first one. And Rena was like out. Was it the first one? Where, yeah, it was. Where Rena was outside and she was just like, I'm sorry. And like Keiichi was like, what is she doing? So I wonder if she was crazy and then Keiichi went crazy. I don't know. There's some interesting stuff. Okay, so I want to make sure I do all the ones that say do this first. I think I have... I think I have done all the ones that say do this first. I think. Okay. Well, so I think that now that we've done Satoko's, we don't have a conflict yet. And we don't have a treat. Okay. So we're kind of eliminating what we can do and what we can't do. Boom. This is one we have to do first. So we're going to do this. The forecast said there was a chance of rain in the evening, but I didn't think it would rain this hard. We wait for the rain clouds to clear in an abandoned bus stop. Sorry, Takano-san. Oh, don't be Jiro-san. I knew it would pour, so don't worry about it. Takano giggles. Thank you. She like giggles, and then it's like Takano giggles. Although she said the weather might change suddenly, I dragged her out here. Feel stupid for making her come along and ending up ruining her precious day off. We have to go back to Tokyo tonight, so it'll be a while before we can come back to Namizawa. That's why I didn't want to spend my last day at a cheap hotel in Okinomiya and asked her to go for a stroll. Oh boy. I'm really sorry. She teases me like a cute devil. She's not trying to corner me for enjoyment. That's just her way of communicating, and I think it's very charming. I think I've become captivated by her. But to her, I'm just an auditor from Tokyo. That's the reason why she's being so nice to me, and it's definitely not because she likes me personally. So if I think about that, I feel like I've used my position to drag her out, and that makes me a little depressed. I probably think this slight fever I have is due to nothing more than a cold. But she is the type of person to say no, who says no when she dislikes something. Of course, she doesn't say it directly, but she uses various indirect means and methods to distinctly say no. I want to believe that she's spending time with me because she might have a little attraction towards me. I shake my head as I frown upon my selfish thoughts. She chuckles as if she knows what I'm thinking. My face blushes a little at at her little action. You're a mysterious person, Jiro-san. I bet women don't leave you alone, huh? Why are you hanging out with a weirdo like me? Weirdo? No way. You were so attractive, Takano-san. Actually, I feel bad to make you spend a day with someone like me. Of course, I'd have decided to devote my life to this important research, but life is too dry with just that. I need to switch gears once in a while. Besides, having communication with the opposite sex is great for the brain. I'm more than happy to help you feel refreshed. Don't you feel refreshed being with me? She smiles at me like a cute devil and makes my heart pound. I try to hide my embarrassment so she wouldn't notice my face blushing to the ears. Of course. When I'm with you, I feel refreshed. Besides, if you learn about avian photography, I gain a buddy to share my hobby with. So next time, I'll bring my old camera. It's really expensive to buy one, to buy a new one. Thank you. I would love to learn about avian photography that you're so intrigued by. I'm looking forward to joining you on a photo shooting stroll next time. So, I don't need to buy a camera? No. Buy my old camera first, and if you like it, then you can buy one for yourself. I'll send it to you when I get back to Tokyo. Thank you. Then I'll have you criticize my pictures when you come next time. Sure. I can hardly wait to see your pictures. It'd be nothing compared to yours. This is my very first time, Still blushing and scratching my head. She's still her cool stealth as she smiles. Being self-confident? Can't help but thinking that Takano-san likes being with me. If it is just utter social flatter, I don't think she would come along this far. Oh, no. Taking women's social flatters seriously is the mistake I always make. I shouldn't misunderstand she's attracted to me. By the way, isn't this the first time for us to be alone like this? Yeah, you're right. Usually the director or other research staff is around us. I don't know anything about you. I don't know exactly what you do in Tokyo or what you've done in the past. I wonder what you do in the self-defense force. I was an instructor just for a while in the past, but I injured my eye. I can live life normally, but they made a big deal out of it ever since, and all I do is desk work. Takano-san giggles, saying I must have done something silly to cause the injury. Well, when I helped the public relations team make their magazine, I became fascinated by photography. Cameras have the power to make people happy. Bet you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's true. Since I started to take pictures, my life has been so happy. How can a camera make you happy? Well, a camera can take a snapshot of a piece of daily life. Of course, you want to capture a moment that's filled with happiness, right? So you look for happiness through the viewfinder. And as you look, you realize your normal daily life is actually filled with happiness. For example, a dandelion sprouting from the crack of asphalt is just a weed in a busy life. When you look at it through the viewfinder, it's a gift to let you know that spring is approaching. You can capture it and put it in an album, and every time you open the album, you remember the happy feeling you had when you took the picture. So you always feel that way when you take pictures. Sure. I don't care if my pictures are artistic or if they're worthy of any prizes. Because to me, re-recognizing a small happiness is what's great about cameras. So I'm so happy to be able to see Hinamizawa through the viewfinder. I have a tendency to go overboard when I talk, but most of the time, Takano-san playfully twists my words right back at me. So it's very unusual for her to listen to me like this. Takano-san sits down next to me and tries to fiddle with my camera. I don't know how much of an impression I gave to her, but I think she is indeed interested in cameras. I was expecting her to tease me as usual, so I'm happy to see her reaction. You want to try? Do you think I can? It's easy. First you just learn how to focus and then press the shutter. Why don't you hold it? Oh, don't ever touch the lens though. This isn't easy. Okay. Since she seemed to show an interest in the cameras, I wanted to take a walk around Hinamizawa and take some nature photography. But unfortunately, the rain doesn't seem to stop. But she's still having fun, and she keeps taking pictures inside of the small shack. So the first set of her pictures are pictures of odd things in and around the dark shack. Since then, ever since we met, or we meet again, we walk around the village with our cameras in our hands. Okay. So Takano's like interested in she's basically just interested in herself. She doesn't care about anything. The only reason she's interested in the camera, so first of all, she needs to be close to Jiro because he's the auditor, but also she likes the cameras because she can take pictures of stuff that's going on in Hinamizawa, which is like her whole shit. Rika Furude's high fever is required. The death of Koizumi Sensei. So we can click on anything and it won't matter. I'm only concerned because I don't know. Okay. I'm only concerned because I don't get out of here. I'm not sure of the order, and when I look at each one, I'm trying to think if we have that information, and it just doesn't seem like we do. So we're on to repetitive apologies are required. We have that. Okay, here we go. Shit. Damn it. Shit. Manager, come on, say something. Manager? You idiot. He's dead already. Clang. A loud noise makes everyone snap out of it. Someone dropped the shovel he was holding. The shovel is smeared with reddish black blood. No, it's not just the shovel. All 6 construction workers' clothes are all bloody too. One of them cries out to the silent dead body of the manager drenched in blood. Manager. Ooh. Shut up. He's already dead. It was self-defense. Right? Self-defense. The fight started after the manager yelled at them for drinking beer inside the office. There are no drinking and no smoking signs everywhere. The manager yelled at anyone who broke the rule. It was the 6 workers' fault for breaking the rule. But they drank because they were stressed out by the anti-dam construction movement. That's why they said things to provoke the manager. They told him to step out. And the others went along. The construction workers work hard and long hours. That's why they instigated the fight with the manager to release their stress. They expected something like cussing at each other or a wrestling match, but things escalated. Actually, the manager exploded all of a sudden. The manager has to deal with the residents' protests as well, so he is stressed out just as much, or maybe even more. But how he changed was not normal. The manager was calm at first, but he gradually became more aggressive, and it was like he transformed into someone completely different. No. It was like he was possessed by something evil. The guys who instigated became sober when they saw his behavior. Then, the manager picked up a shovel that was nearby and tried to smash his opponent's head. The guy managed to avoid the hit, but if he didn't, his head surely would have been split open. The manager kept pounding on the guy with the shovel, and the guy tried to avoid the hits frantically. By this time, the workers realized this was beyond a simple fight, so they tried to hold the manager down. But the manager turned on them with the shovel. One of the guys tried to protect himself by crossing his arms above his head. But there's no way to block a shovel with such force. Blood spurted out and the man groaned in pain. By this time, the 6 guys realized the manager was not his usual self. This manager would try to bash their brains without hesitation. Since the opponent was using the shovel as his weapon, they had to find some kind of weapon too. One of them grabbed a huge hammer. Then the others realized they need to find something too. To restrain the manager in this condition, they better arm themselves. It wasn't supposed to be this way. It didn't take that long for the madness to infect the 6 workers. It was only a matter of time before things went from restraining him to lynching him. By the time they realized what happened, the manager was already a lump of meat. His face was all swollen. Shreds of skin had been torn off, and his muscles and skull are visible too. Obviously, he is dead already. Fuck! He almost killed us, remember? If he hadn't attacked us, he wouldn't have fought him. Right? The leader of the 6, who instigated the fight, tries to bring the rest to his side, but nobody replies. The leader gets frustrated. He's the one who started the fight. The rest simply joined in. He's the main perpetrator. Maybe that's why he was feeling exasperated. He senses that he's the one at fault. Come on, man. What can you do at this point, huh? He's dead, okay? We're murderers. You aren't thinking about going to the police, are you? Fuck you. I'm not going to jail at this age. We're going to hide it. We're going to hide this body and pretend nothing happened. Some know he's on probation for an assault case from the past. So if he got into trouble with the law again, the punishment would be more severe than they could imagine. That's why he's desperately trying to find a way out. If he was alone with the manager's body, he wouldn't have behaved this way. All he had to do was hide the manager's body and pretend nothing happened. But there are 6 of them, including him. They are partners in crime and witnesses too. If even one of them turns himself in out of guilt, he'll be in big trouble. But even if we hide the body, they'll find out sooner or later. Instead, we should plead self-defense and we'd be pardoned for justifiable defense. Don't be so stupid. Look what we've done. Look at the condition of the body. Who else would think this was a result of self-defense? His parents won't even be able to identify him in this condition, you idiot. But everyone will find out that the manager is missing by tomorrow morning. We have no other choice. So useless, shithead. He slaps the guy's face. The leader has such an evil look on his face. Listen well, idiots. We're all murderers, okay? If we don't do anything, we'll end up in prison for 5 to 6 years easily. If even one of us talks, we'll all be caught. Don't think penal servitude is easy. If you think you'll be caught sooner or later, then why don't you try to run until you get caught? Don't just give up now. His face turns more and more devilish. That's the same expression the manager had just a few minutes ago. Is he possessed by the same thing that possessed the manager? The 5 men start to think that. Come to think of it, all the villagers who are in the anti-dam movements have the same expression on their faces. The real name of this village is the Onagafuchi village. And some people say wicked demons live there, and sometimes they possess people. And you can't help but to recall this exaggerated story often told by the demonstrators. The manager swung the shovel after his expression changed to this devilish one. There's no guarantee this man won't do the same. In fact, he still has the hammer in his hand and is glaring at everyone to intimidate them. If someone suggests surrendering, he'll probably smash his head with it. I know. But nobody here betrays the rest. I have an idea. It'll make it easier to hide the body, too. What is it? We are going to dismember the body into 6 parts. They all want to object to the idea. Killing is a serious crime itself. Dismembering the body is too much. But if anyone objects, he'll be killed on the spot. So no one says anything. We all dismember him together. Remember what the manager always used to say? Teamwork. We're all in this together. We each take a body part and hide it responsibly. What do you think, huh? This way you're all equally guilty, right? I won't let anyone surrender. The 5 men are all taken in by his ghastly face. And they even feel the fear of the Onagafuchi demons creep up their backs. Oh geez, we are at a terrible time to end that. Oh my goodness. That is a terrible time to end that because we're like right there. I feel like we could maybe do one more. If I can find it fast. Help from the Queen Carrier. So what just happened? A bat beat her to death. I think we have the kidnapping instructions. Oh, here we go. The death of the damn construction site manager. I don't know what to say. I want to say something, but I can't think of the words to say. I can only sigh. Oishi-san, I've been looking for you. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster. But quiet. This is not a place to be so loud. This Kuma guy barges into the room. The old coroner quickly snaps back at him. Sorry. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster of the suspect. Can you talk to Koyama-kun about that? I need to talk to this old man. Could you tell him something? I'll be right over. Okay. Kuma guy runs out of the autopsy room in the same haste he came in. Lively man, isn't he? The old guy would have slapped him for making such a fuss. Probably should go back too. The air in this room isn't for people who aren't used to it. You're right. If they take too long of a break, maybe I'll get slapped as well. You're the most feared man out of all the gangs out there, yet this man is the only person in all of Sushi Bone who had the right to beat you up. He really was a merciless man. I think he gave me more beatings than my own father. There's no false to it. If you really believed that you looked up to him as your father, then he was your father. Who? My real father passed away in Nagoya. He was unlucky. He hadn't given an order to go to a... If he wasn't given an order to go to a plant in Nagoya, he wouldn't have died in an air raid. If he could have rode out another half a year or so, then the war would have been over. Although I was very sad, I was already grown up by then, so I didn't cry down on the ground like my mother did. People feel sadness in different ways. For some people, the overwhelming sadness comes all at once. Hey, that's me. But others feel sadness gradually over a long period of time. I think I was the latter. When he was alive, I only thought of him as an annoying father. I even thought of why he was passed over in the draft. I thought my feelings toward him would always be the same. Then the war ended. As I saw families and friends being reunited with joy as they came home from the fronts, I finally realized. I grieved over my father's death. Japan was filled with people who were sad and despaired. I knew I wasn't the only one whose life was in despair. But I remember I was very, very sad. After the war, the country changed suddenly. The surroundings around me were, as a policeman, changed rapidly too. I could only devote myself to my daily work in order to forget my sadness. At the time, I was in charge of busting people for buying illegal rice. What? At the time, I was in charge of busting people for buying illegal rice? What rice is illegal, and where can I get some? Illegal rice? What? Is there legal and non-legal rice in Japan? I'm trying to think of... I might just be being an idiot. Illegal rice? Illegal rice, illegal rice. Rice that you can't have because the law tells you that you can't have a food group? That's so weird. I guess, I don't know. I'd have to know what it is. Maybe I'm just being stupid and I know about it already, and I just can't think of what rice would be illegal, but that's just so weird. Not so many. There was a lot for black market in Gogura, and a lot of people came to buy them as far as the Osaka area to buy them. After the war, Japan faced chronic shortage of food supplies. The country implemented a food rationing program called the Food Control Law. But the rations the government provided weren't even close to enough to feed families. Therefore, the people had no other choice than buying food and supplies at the black market. The government hardly had enough food for rations, but there were plenty at the black market. The dealers and brokers sell them at an outrageous price, and some of them actually made some wealth through these black markets. The Sonozaki family made their wealth through such black markets, but that's another story. The government didn't bother... Who am I speaking with? Who is this? The government didn't bother arresting illegal brokers. That's because these brokers were able to buy off top members of the police department with their money. Instead, they decided to go after people who bought them, and they even confiscated the illegal rice they bought by selling everything they owned. Illegal rice? Is that just rice that you don't buy from the government? Like, are you supposed to buy rice from the government or some shit? And like, they're just like, nah, it's illegal to buy rice anywhere else, so it's an illegal rice. Or is it like, this specific type of rice is awful? I know I'm harping on it too much, and it's not a big deal, but it's like a big deal to me, because now I gotta know. I'm gonna look it up on Google. I remember the time, wasn't there a prosecutor who starved himself to death? Yes, there was. The prosecutor vowed not to eat illegal rice and starved to death. Wasn't that in the second year? Second? Why does that sound weird? Dude, I'm having like a crisis here at the end of the episode. That was horrible. He was a public prosecutor. As a public prosecutor, proved himself that people can't survive by adhering to the law. The prosecutor got tired of the government that kept prosecuting people whose charge were doing whatever they could to survive. And he proclaimed that he was never going to buy any more black market rice anymore. He starved to death when he was only in his mid-30s. It was somewhere in the 22nd. I said 72nd. Okay, it's the 22nd. What the hell is wrong with me? Of the show. I'm tired, guys. Like my eyes, I can't. The law prohibits people from buying black market rice. But that's the only way to survive. Why? Why can't you buy black market rice? Is my question. I should be able to buy rice from whoever I want to buy rice from. I feel like. I mean, maybe that's just like my US way of thinking, and like other countries don't have access to rice like we do, but I feel like illegal rice is like the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard in my life. Then is this food control law unjust? Yes. Any law that prohibits you from buying rice from whoever you damn well please is I believe unjust in my definition of the term. We rounded up people with bags of rice and lined them up at the temporary inspection point to the next station. It was like a military tribunal. We inspected their bags and confiscated everything that they bought at the black market. The women all cried. I would cry too if they took my rice. They sold everything they owned to buy the rice. What? What kind of backwards was... Ugh. I need to like... I don't know if this is... Here's the thing about this game. This game will just throw history at me. And I don't know, because I'm in a fictional world, if this is true or not. Or if it's just like, oh, we're going to throw this thing about rice in our game. And like, that's going to be part of our plot. Or if it's like, oh, this actually happened. There was illegal rice in Japan. And like, people sold everything they owned to buy the rice. And then the government took it away from them. It just sounds crazy to me. But then again, like, there's a bunch of stuff in history that sounds super crazy to me. So I mean, I can believe it if you told me it was real, I'd believe it. But I also think it's dumb. Because, you know, stuff that happened in history is just awful. So, you know? People were sensitive to, if they hear the police inspection is at the next station, they jump off the train and run. We're aware of these people, so we've set up several officers near jump-off spots in order... Jesus. Wait, so people were avoiding the police checkpoint. Ah. I don't know if I want this to be real or not to be real. Because it's so ridiculous that I believe it, but I don't know. Gosh, I was surprised. He looked so much like my father. I really thought that my father survived if the air raid in Nagoya miraculously came back. I was chasing a man who conducted a runaway from the inspection point. There was no way for him to run with a heavy bag of rice on him, so either he gets arrested with the illegal rice, or run by ditching the rice that he had bought by selling all of his belongings. In other words, if a person is to be chased by the police, that person can't provide his family any rice to eat. I knew I was doing this shitty job. I knew people had to buy the illegal rice to survive. There was this Tackett? Or Tacit? I legit have not seen that word, which is so odd. Like it feels like a simple word. Or maybe I have and I just haven't seen it in text. Tact? It's not tact. Tackett? Understanding among us that to let go of the people who chose to dish the rice. Does tact mean, or tacit understanding? Tacit sounds familiar. Like a false like a stupid understanding. Anyway, so I always thought that I'm having a crisis, guys. Like the end of this episode is crazy. So I always thought the same thing as please ditch the rice. I don't want to catch him. I couldn't bear to hear his cries and plights of despair anymore. Then the old guy showed up. He looked exactly like my dead father. I was dumbfounded. Suddenly, a guy punched my head. Father disciplines you. You, as a child, droop down your head in apology. I was so happy to see my father alive, I couldn't hold the joy in. The old guy said, "Let him go." When I heard the voice, I realized he wasn't my father, so I thought I was going to arrest him for assaulting a policeman. A young, scrawny guy like me was no match for a guy who was used to brawls. Yeah, he sure taught me a lesson. He gave me a good scolding in the middle of the main street after I was all beaten up. Who would even listen to him, right? But something struck me then. I kept seeing my father in him. All I could do was listen to him. Yeah, he was a ruffian, but he showed the guts like a real man. That's what made him a great guy. You don't see men like him nowadays. He was a true example for a man from the good old times. Despite my age, I still needed a father. I needed a man to look up to to show me what mistakes, or show me what makes a man a man. That's why I think I had two fathers. The old guy was indeed my father, my brother, and my best friend. But now he lies with his head, body, arms, and legs all dismembered, and his right arm is still missing. He taught me how to be a man, how to enjoy the alcohol, and how to play mahjong. And he even gave me a good beating when I did something wrong with his right arm. But that right arm is still missing. Do you have any suspects? Yes, sure, of course. I clicked too fast. I vowed to find the guy's right arm and pay back for what they did to him. With the tight clench being the main perpetrators of illegal activities of this damn construction war, the Sonozaki family, I declare war within myself. I already know who my enemy is. That's a good place to stop. Cool. So that was I just Oishi? I'm assuming. I'm assuming that's what happened. Okay. I'm curious to see. So the damn construction thing that went on was due to the Hinamizawa syndrome. So we're already. So Rena, I feel like Rena nailed everything. Like pretty much, besides the aliens thing. Like she was so dead on, pretty much. And she like saw bugs in her arms and stuff. It's like, oh, there were parasites in you. So she was like really close on like a lot of things. Like if she was like a little smarter about her deductive reasoning, obviously she has the syndrome, so she kind of went wild. But if she would have kept her cool, she would have found exactly what was going on within like a week, whereas it took Takano's grandfather like forever. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and edit here. Thank you guys so much for watching and waiting for this episode. As always, you've been awesome. I appreciate you. I'll have to do a shout out to all the people that made it to the end. So when we get to the end, or the last few episodes, I don't want to do it on the very last episode because I know people that like haven't watched will just comment there. But like on the last couple episodes, when I feel like we're getting close to the end, like maybe after we finish all of this, I'll ask for comments to everyone who's made it that far, and we'll have to do like a big tribute at the end because I don't know, you've all been awesome. It's been fun talking with y'all, and I appreciate you being here. Let me know again. Just a quick reminder: am I echoey? It sounds like I'm echoey in my room, but I don't know how it sounds to you. So if it sounds fine, great. If it doesn't, let me know. I hope to see you guys in the next episode, whenever that may be, and peace out, you guys.